Hello everybody, this is Nick Jansons, and I'm here with my friend Alan. Thank you for coming, Alan.
Thank you for having me.
So basically, Alan is a guy who I know from Business Incubator, where he gave a speech, and I heard first time about him. He invented actually the post-it notes which you stick on. Maybe we have somewhere. Later we'll show it how it looks. That's something he invented. He's an inventor. It looks like it looks like something like this. He invented basically this thing, which we most probably everybody has used it at some point of their life. So wanted to give this conversation more about what do you think, how we can as individuals move forward, establish some things, create new opportunities for ourselves, actually speak a little bit about how you came to the point where you invented this thing, or how you came at all in Inventions, and then we're going to move on, and I'm going to ask you probably something a little about books, about mentorships, and you have many things that you're really very valuable you can share. So in the beginning, maybe you can tell about how you came to the invention of Post-it note.
Most inventions and things people come up with are out of necessity, and what I had to do, I was 23 years old, I just got married, and I had to leave a note for my wife, and I didn't have any Scotch tape, which normally you'd write a piece of paper and you'd put a piece of Scotch tape on it and put it on the refrigerator. And I didn't have any Scotch tape, so I had to leave her a message. So what I did was I devised a way of putting it on the refrigerator with a sticky substance that would hold it on the refrigerator, and I could leave the note. So that was done out of necessity. Most inventions are done out of necessity, but 50% of inventions are from the need or the creating of it, and the other 40% or 50% of it is basically out of development and coming up with different ideas and things.
I remember you had this amazing story how you come up with ideas which you then write on. You have these amazing dreams, you told me, right? Can you share a little bit about that?
I had a dream about an idea, which is another way of inventing, and in the middle of the night I dreamt that I saw this what we know today as the iPad, and I saw that on a pedestal. And I guess I was dreaming, and I was at a trade show, and I saw a pedestal, and I saw this on the pedestal, and I thought it was so cool. So in my dream, I wanted it, so I took it. You know, in your dream, you can take things; it doesn't matter. Yeah. So I took this thing off the pedestal, and I started walking away, and then I felt like a wire connecting to it. So I realized that, and then I came up with something called the video page, and it was a flat, self-contained, battery-operated, LCD, 8x10 video page, I called it. And it played video and audio and pictures and stuff. And then years later, like 9 years or 7 years later, the iPad was invented. Yes. And if you go into an Apple store in America, or I guess they have the same thing here, where they have actually on the pedestal, they have iPads, and if you pick it up, it has a cord on it. So I actually dreamt that before I actually saw it years later in an Apple store.
So that was crazy. That's
yeah.
The thing is, I like most about you. You have these ideas, and then you know how to execute on the idea to actually make it happen. That's something I believe is completely super valuable. What everybody needs to understand.
It's the most important, because you can come up. A lot of people say, "Oh, I thought of that," but they didn't do anything about it.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have to, when you come up with an idea, if you think it's a good idea. Well, now you have Google. I didn't have Google years ago, so but now you have Google. So if you come up with a really good idea and you think it's never been done before, go type it into Google and see if it's ever been done before. And if it's never been done before, well, then pursue it and do it. Write it down, draw it, file a patent on it. There's a patent office here in Latvia. You can get information there. Or you can go to the United States Patent Office, get information there, file patents on it, and then follow through on it. Build a prototype of it, make it work, show it to people, demonstrate it for people. Don't be afraid that, people say, "Oh, I came up with this great idea and I can't tell anybody about it because they'll steal it from me." Well, that's ridiculous. If you don't tell anybody about it, it's not going to happen. Sure, you worry about people stealing your ideas, so there's something called an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, that before you tell people about your idea, let them sign an NDA. Or just file a patent on it, and you don't need an NDA. If you file a patent on it, you can tell anybody in the world about it, and if they do steal it, you could prove that you filed a patent on it.
Okay, regarding entrepreneurship, many people probably think of ideas and they Google it, and they most probably will see something similar already there. What would and regarding they have a passion for that idea, for instance, like creating a product in fitness, like creating an info product. What would you suggest for them how to actually develop that idea to actually sell and create value also for customers and to create personal.
Okay, I'll give you an example. My daughter, a number of years ago, she went to USC Film School in California, and she called me up and said, "Dad, I invented the greatest invention ever. I want you to help me with it." I said, "Okay, what is it?" She told me it's a beach chair where you lay flat down on it and you can read a book. You know, there's a hole in it and you could read a book from laying on your stomach. And I said, "Well, that's a good idea. Did you Google it?" And she Googled it. No, she didn't Google it. She told me to. I did. In Google, I found Amazon.com was selling the exact same thing for $49.99. So I called her back and I said, "Joey, they're already making it. It's on Amazon.com for $49.95. Go look at it." She says, "Oh, they stole my idea." They didn't steal her idea. She's only been working on it for a day. They've been working on it for about a year because it's obviously online already. And so my point is that if you see it online and you see the product you came up with already being sold, stop. It's already been done. But if there's something that they're doing that's different than you are, if you're doing something different, it could be better, then you should pursue it.
Then you should pursue
it. Yeah, absolutely. Because if it's never been done before, the way you're doing it, you should pursue it and do it, because you could come up with something better than that beach chair with the hole in it. Maybe there's another way of doing it, but in her case, it was exactly the way she invented it.
From my experience, which is probably like maybe the average experience, I have this experience that in Latvia, where mostly people's mentality is kind of shy. They don't want to share. They don't want to make their ideas a reality. Maybe you can comment on that, because you're an American and you have lived in Latvia for a long time. You could probably seen it, right? And what can you tell these people how to maybe think differently and actually pursue? Because American people are like, I need to get that, need to get it done now. Latvians are, I need to think about it.
Absolutely.
My family.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I did a lecture at UC Berkeley in California this year. And when I ask questions at the end of my lecture, everybody's got a question. And in Latvia, I lectured at the University of Latvia. I teach there. I lectured at RBS and RSU, all universities here. And every time I finish my lecture, I say, "Are there any questions?" Nobody raised their hand. Nobody says anything. But after my first few, I realized, you know what? I got to tell them that I know they're like this, and I'm going to give them a couple of minutes to think. Because they do. They need to think for a while. So I'll say that, and then I'll wait a couple of minutes, and then the hands will come up slowly, and everybody will have questions. So yeah, they're more reserved. They're not as impulsive as Americans are.
Do you think that actually helps them or prevents them from actually doing stuff?
I think well, you know what? There's a happy medium between the way the Americans are jumping at stuff and the way the Latvians are not moving at all. There's a happy medium where, okay, you could be aggressive, but you could also be a little bit reserved. So I'm saying that you should be a little bit of each. You shouldn't really be too much of either side.
Okay. What is something that actually like sparks you maybe these ideas? For instance, maybe some people, I personally know them, who don't actually have ideas. What would they have to practice to actually maybe come up with something, because they're working a 9-to-5 job, they want to make something for themselves, they want to create some opportunities, but they don't have these ideas, and they're like complaining about it.
They think they don't have the ideas. They do. They're just not aware of it. I've talked to people who say, "I can't come up with anything." You can't really sit down and invent something. That's not the way it works. Inventing is, like I said, it's out of necessity. So when you need something, you develop, whether it be a service or a business, or it could be an idea. It doesn't have to be a product. An invention doesn't have to be a product. It could be a business, a service, something that you want to do that's different than other people do it. Like I just did an article. I have a column in DNS Business, which is the largest Latvian business newspaper. And this week I'm doing on Car Guru. Car Guru is a new innovative way of sharing a rental car, where the car is parked all over the city. There's like 20 some odd cars right now. They'll have more eventually. And when you want to rent a car,
creating ideas, moving yourself forward, actually achieving stuff, what is something that you can suggest?
Things like that. There are motivational speakers and things like that, but But if you do have an idea, there is a website at your Latvian patent office has a website. Yes. Go to their website. They have a link where they have a clinic every 3 months of the Latvian patent office, and he was telling me about that. And I think that's great because most of these startups that I meet with at the universities, these guys don't even think about patents. They don't even think about protection. They don't even think their ideas are inventions. They think of them just as I came up with this and I want to do this, which is okay, but if it's an invention, capitalize on it as an invention, not just as another business or another idea, because there's another startup happening every 5 minutes in the world.
Alan, I have something that I think is very important for myself that definitely has helped me, and I believe many people also need to capitalize on this thing, which is mentorship and having people they look up to, finding people who are 10 years, 5 years ahead of them, and actually becoming their apprentices and learning from them in the trenches and like avoiding most of the mistakes they made. What is something that's a mentor for you? Did you have any mentors? That can be a book also, like something that's for yourself and what you can tell about it.
I don't like the word mentors. Okay. Ever since I came to Latvia, I've been hearing that word a lot. I don't like the word. I don't know why. It just doesn't. What I like is I feel like I've been doing this for 45 years. I've been inventing and patenting, and I have 40 United States patents. And I've learned over the years that experience is the key to success. Because if you start out and wake up in the morning and have to try to do something, and if you've never done it before, it's hard to do. You're like trial and error, and will it work? Well, I don't know but if you wake up after 45 years of doing the same thing over and over again, you know what works and you know what doesn't work. So yes, seek out people like myself that's done this before. Because like if you go to war school, and then you go right to war without talking to people or knowing anybody that was in war to find out what it's really like, you're going to get killed. So it's like that in business. If you go into business without talking to somebody that's already in business, not just learning it, because once you go to school and you learn it, that's cool and everything, and you should know that, but also go see somebody that's been doing it for a number of years. See how what they experience and what they went through, because that's reality. You know, what they teach you in school, and I'm nothing against school, is all theory. You know, but what you learn in the real world is exactly what it is, the real world.
How should you approach these people? Like, okay, one thing is meet them. Another thing is how you should approach them. What would you suggest how to approach these people? By not calling them a mentor, I think. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's different in Europe, but in America, if you call somebody a mentor, it's like, you know, like a god, like a guru, and that's ridiculous. So I think just by approaching people that have experience, say, listen, be really totally honest. You have all this experience for all these years. If you could just share that with me now for a few minutes, I'll have certain questions that'll solve my problems that I'm having right now that you may have solved 100 times already. The thing is that I wish I had somebody to be able to help me when I was younger. I would have been a lot better off. So I think a lot of these guys that have gone through it, they want to help. You know, they want to give back to people. They call it giving it back to people that are just starting out, because, you know, if they had somebody to help them, it would have cut like 10 or 15 years off of their problems and heartaches. And so, yeah, I just think the kids should just go over to someone that's in the business and just say, listen, I would like you to just to help me out. I know you have a lot of experience in this. Can you just answer a few? Be prepared with some questions. Don't just say, "Oh, I don't know what they ask you." You know, like you got to have some idea of what you're up against. You know, if you're trying to build a prototype, let's say, and the guy is an inventor, you could say, "Listen, you've built prototypes before," and he'll go, "Oh yeah. Well, can you tell me where I can get it done or how you did it?" Stuff like that. So be more specific, and you'll be better off than being vague. For the final thing, I would like to ask you, what is a quote, a saying, which you would put on a billboard where every Latvian could see it, like every day?
Wow.
What is something you would put on it? Like a quote, maybe a saying?
They asked me the other day, I was at an international conference, business conference, yes. And I spoke there, and one of the questions was, did I lose my first $1 million? Now everybody wants to be a millionaire and make a lot of money. So I said, yes, I lost my first $1 million. And then I'm thinking, and I said, you know what, I didn't lose it, I spent it. That's not losing it. I think you got to know in this world that You know, just because people think you lost your money or think that you lost your first million or whatever like that, I think it's really important for people to know that every penny you lose is not lost if you're spending it and enjoying your life. So I think that's what I put up on a billboard. You have to enjoy your life. Don't worry about money. Don't worry about saving. Don't worry about, I'm not saying you shouldn't save. I'm saying, but that shouldn't be so impulsive that your whole life is built around that saving the money, because you could die in 10 minutes and that money saved is going to go to somebody else to enjoy or whatever. So you might as well just enjoy your life and not worry. The more you worry, the less you're going to be successful. People that are successful, like Michael Jordan, who jumps up, or Chris Porzinger, like he just puts the basket in. It's a natural thing for him. He doesn't have to think, well, I got to get up there and put the basket in. He actually just naturally does it. If he had to think about it, and sometimes he does, he can't get the basket. It's just, so you got to like just relax, not worry, and things will work out.
Thank you, Alan. And something I say at the end of my maybe videos or something is that I say stay sharp, or is something
right.
that you have maybe you want to like say. Do you have something like that?
I use the Nike saying, just do it.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Alan. Thank you very much.
Thank you.